What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We're Lance and Lauren with the Living in Sacramento team. And today's video is going to be everything that you need to know if you're thinking about making the move or relocating to El Dorado Hills, California. Now, El Dorado Hills, California is one of those cities that a lot of people don't really think about when they're originally thinking about making the move to the greater Sacramento metro area. So in today's video, we are going to give you an all-encompassing view of El Dorado Hills, California. We're going to be giving you 4 pros. We're going to be giving you 4 cons. We're going to be giving you 4 of some of our favorite neighborhoods that you can move if you're thinking about moving up here to El Dorado Hills. But first, we're going to go through a little bit of a high-level overview of El Dorado Hills, where it's located at, and why this city should be on your list, or at least on your short list if you're thinking about making the move to the greater Sacramento metro.
All right, so El Dorado Hills is located about a 30-minute drive east of Sacramento along Highway 50 as you're headed up towards South Lake Tahoe. Now, a majority of El Dorado Hills is going to be located on the north side of Highway 50, and it's going to go all the way up towards Folsom Lake, and it's going to start right after you pass Folsom on your way towards South Lake Tahoe. Now, El Dorado Hills has a different feel than most of the other cities around the greater Sacramento metro. Now, one thing that we have noticed is that a lot of people who have made the trip out here and have explored El Dorado Hills, even if it wasn't something that was on their list, the number one thing that we hear from people and the reason why they love El Dorado Hills is because it has a completely different feel than any other area. It has a ton of mature trees, it's got your rolling hills, and when you look across El Dorado Hills, you don't see house on house on house. It really feels like you're living in nature with how mature all of the trees and the foliage are here. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, so El Dorado Hills is going to be just past Folsom. So a lot of times when people are coming to the area, they're originally thinking Folsom is going to be the place for them until we start to maybe explore El Dorado Hills. So what we're going to do today, we're actually located at the El Dorado Hills Town Center, which tends to be one of the most popular spots in El Dorado Hills as it relates to some of your shopping, movie theaters. It's got a Target, it's got some great restaurants. It's got a lot of things that are right here, but what we're gonna do today is we're gonna take you around to 4 of the most popular neighborhoods that you guys have wanted to check out while you've been in town visiting. We're gonna take you through those neighborhoods. We're gonna tell you one of our favorite pros about El Dorado Hills. We're gonna tell you some of our cons about El Dorado Hills. So make sure you stick around until the very end, because the last con is definitely one of the things that you need to know about if you're thinking about making the move to El Dorado Hills. So let's get into it. All right, so there definitely isn't a neighborhood that I don't love on this list today, but we are starting off at our first neighborhood, which is going to be Blackstone. Now, Blackstone is going to be the only neighborhood that we're covering today that is going to be south of Highway 50. Proximity-wise, it is going to be the closest neighborhood or development to the El Dorado Hills Town Center. Now, the cool thing about Blackstone is you are going to be really close to nature. You are going to have some absolutely gorgeous homes with some gorgeous views. This is going to be a relatively newer community, so as we kind of bounce around, the cool thing is really kind of where we're at. You're going to have these kind of like hills that this neighborhood's going to kind of back up to. So it's actually one of my favorite neighborhoods. I actually found out about this neighborhood kind of during the pandemic, 2020. And one of our clients moved from Sacramento up to Blackstone, and the house has been absolutely amazing. But Blackstone is going to be a gated community, which is going to be nice. It's going to provide some privacy. It is going to provide some safety with the gate, but it's also going to have a clubhouse with a super awesome fitness center. It's going to have a couple of pools, spas. The cool thing about El Dorado Hills is you're really going to be kind of in that area where you're going to be more kind of in nature. Now, the first pro that we're going to talk about is going to be the El Dorado Hills Town Center. So for me, that pro, and especially where Blackstone is located at, this is going to be one of the closest neighborhoods, or at least one of the closest neighborhoods that we're featuring on this video today, to the El Dorado Hills Town Center. So the El Dorado Hills Town Center is going to have a lot of different things. It's going to have a movie theater, it's going to have a Target, it's going to have a lot of stuff. Now, there is a shopping center that's going to be just before the El Dorado Hills Town Center if you're going north back towards Highway 50, but El Dorado Hills Town Center is going to have a lot of different things. The cool thing about that place is they also do some pretty cool events throughout the year. They do, ice skating during the holiday season. They do an awesome 4th of July show. It's got this really cool kind of water that you saw when we were doing the intro where we were kind of at. So very cool environment, very cool vibe. It's really got that nice element. But our first con that we're going to talk about in the video today is going to be the proximity to Sacramento. So El Dorado Hills is going to be located about 35 to 40 minutes east of Sacramento. It's going to be the first city past Folsom, and it's going to be that first city as you start to make that climb up towards South Lake Tahoe. Now, the El Dorado Hills city part is going to be kind of right around the city. You're gonna have neighborhoods that we're gonna talk about today, but then El Dorado Hills also has some rural areas too. So depending on if you decide to move to El Dorado Hills and what part of El Dorado Hills that you're living at, you could be closer by Folsom Lake, you could be south, that's right close to Highway 50. So depending on where you're gonna be in proximity to the freeway could extend your commute time if you have to commute down into downtown Sacramento. Now, the plus that I will say, even though this, we're limiting it to a couple of pros and a couple of cons in this video, the plus is you're actually going to be closer to South Lake Tahoe. So if you like to go skiing, you like to go snowboarding, you like to go up to South Lake Tahoe and go to some concerts, you're actually gonna be, I would say, about 10 to 20 minutes closer, because if you're in downtown Sacramento, it takes you about 30-35 minutes to get to El Dorado Hills anyway. So you actually kind of shave off some of that time if you are living in El Dorado Hills. So really it kind of comes down to what your lifestyle is, where you really have to be proximity wise to work, which is one of the questions that we cover as we start to get to know a little bit about your lifestyle and why you're moving to Sacramento. But it is one of those things where, if you have to be in downtown Sacramento every day for work, El Dorado Hills may not be the best choice because of its proximity to downtown Sacramento. But if you are lucky enough to where you can work remote, or you only have to go into the office a couple of days a week, El Dorado Hills could be an awesome choice. But Lauren is going to take you over to one of our next communities and give you another pro and another con.
All right, so the next neighborhood we're gonna share with you about in El Dorado Hills is gonna be the Promontory. Now, I'm at the Promontory Park right now. You can kind of see it behind me, which it's kind of surrounded by houses. But first off, let's talk about where the Promontory is located. Now, the Promontory is gonna be located on the north side of El Dorado Hills, close to Folsom Lake and just south of Green Valley Road. Now, homes in this neighborhood can range anywhere from $750,000 all the way up into the mid 2 millions. Now, you can definitely find a huge range of homes. You can find resales. There's also one home builder that's still building out here, but they're almost done. I think they may have just sold their last release, which is going to be Lennar. You do have things that are newer up here. You do have some things that are a little bit older, but by a little bit older, these homes were built after 2010 leading up to today. Now, this is a pretty big community that surrounds this park. You've got different multiple neighborhoods that are all gated. You also have some homes that you can kind of see behind me. There's that hill up there. You've got some homes that have great views. They see over this park, they can see past this park, and on a clear day, they can see parts of Folsom Lake. So depending on which home or which lot you end up getting, you could potentially have a home with a view if you're in the Promontory. All right, so one of the cool things about this neighborhood is that you are super close to Folsom Lake and the El Dorado Hills side entrance. So the nice thing about the El Dorado Hills side entrance of Folsom Lake is that they do have boat slips down there. So if you have a boat and you want to dock it at the lake, you can definitely do that. So you're close to all of that nature and outdoorsy stuff when it comes to living in the Promontory. Now, the other cool thing about the Promontory is that it's featured around this park that I'm at right now. Now, one of the things that I really love about this park is they do a ton of different community events here. During Easter, they had a giant Easter egg hunt, which was really cool. You've got tons of different rec sports leagues that run out of this park, which is really, really nice. You've got a really cool playground area for kiddos. You also got a smaller playground area if you've got littles. So it's just a really kind of community hub feature to the Promontory, which is really nice. And it's a pretty massive park. You've got turf soccer fields, you've got a baseball diamond, you've got a softball diamond, you've got bocce ball courts, you've got horseshoes. So as you can see, they really have a ton of different things to offer when it comes to sporting events and different things at this park, which is really, really nice. Now on to our next pro for El Dorado Hills, which I kind of touched on it a little bit. It's gonna be community events. So El Dorado Hills, the one thing is if you're living in El Dorado Hills, if you wanna get to know different members of the community and really get involved, you can, because they host so many different community events throughout the year. Whether it's a community event at a park like the one I'm at right now, or whether it's a community event that's at the El Dorado Hills Town Center, they do things all over El Dorado Hills that are community events that can really get you involved. So some of our favorites are going to be at 4th of July. At the town center, they do a really nice fireworks show. During Easter at the town center, they also do an Easter egg hunt there. A lot of these parks also do Easter egg hunts there as well. Some of the parks do movies in the summer months, so you can come out and bring a lawn chair and you can watch a movie in the park, which is really, really cool. There's just so many different events that you can come out, you can be a part of the community, and you can really get to know your neighbors and everybody else that lives in El Dorado Hills. So if community is something that you're looking for, El Dorado Hills should definitely be on your list. Now, my next con for El Dorado Hills is gonna be limited shopping. So if you're looking to live and shop where you live, El Dorado Hills is going to be a little bit more limited when it comes to that. Now they do have your standard grocery store, Starbucks, you know, Papa Murphy's, like local taqueria. They're going to have some of those things. The town center is going to have different restaurants that you can go to. So you don't necessarily have to leave. They do have a Target, they do have a movie theater, but when you're looking at shopping for like maybe back to school or different clothing items, and maybe you don't want to buy all your clothing at Target, you are going to have to travel outside of El Dorado Hills to accomplish that kind of shopping. They don't have their own mall or anything like that. So the closest shopping nearby is going to be at the Palladio, which luckily is just the exit up in Folsom. So it's going to be easy access, easy to get to, but you will have to travel outside of El Dorado Hills to get that kind of shopping done. And if you're looking to go to like a major mall and you're not looking for an outdoor mall like the Palladio, then you'll have to trek all the way through Folsom, across Granite Bay into Roseville to get to the closest mall, which would be the Galleria at Roseville. So just keep in mind, if shopping is something that's important to you and you want to be close to those types of stores, you will have to trek outside of El Dorado Hills to accomplish all of that.
All right, now before we jump into our third neighborhood, if you have any questions or if you're thinking about making the move to the greater Sacramento metro area, this is where that phone number is going to be popping back up. We tell you to go ahead and reach out to us so that way we can help you put together a game plan that's going to be right for you and your family as it relates to your move. So a lot of times you guys reach out to us and maybe you have 2 or 3 or 4 areas that you guys are thinking about, but you're just not really sure about any of the 4 specifically. So that's where we kind of can get to know a little bit about your goals, what's bringing you to the Sacramento area. And then we can also help figure out what may be a better fit based off of your commuting times, or maybe it's your family or your lifestyle or your activities or things that you like to do. So that phone number is going to be up there. We answer every phone call, email, and text message, and we absolutely love it when you guys reach out to us. So bringing us into our third neighborhood, if you're thinking about making the move to El Dorado Hills, is going to be Serrano. Now, Serrano is a master plan community, and specifically on today's video, we're going to be focusing on the Serrano, I guess you would say kind of the south side of Serrano. So Serrano is going to be located north of Highway 50. It's going to be kind of just, I would say, west of Bass Lake Road. And like I said, specifically, we're going to be taking you around and showing you specifically the Serrano south side. But just kind of keep in mind when you're doing your searches and you're looking online, Serrano is going to look like it's kind of spread out all over the place. You're going to have the north side, south side, and the side that's going to be down by the high school. Now, the cool thing about Serrano, or at least the south side of Serrano, is it is a gated community. Not guard gated, but it is a gated community. And then you're going to have massive trails and park systems that are going to be located within the community. So it's actually pretty surprising how massive the south side of Serrano is. And you have all of these trails, you have sidewalks, you have paved trail areas, you have parks, and it's all located within the gated part of this community, which is super nice. So you can go on late night runs, you can play basketball, there's courts here, soccer fields, there's a playground that's gonna be back behind me, lots of covered areas, kind of a workout area, but it's gonna have a lot of really nice features and amenities that come along with living in this community. Now, if you do like golf, they are gonna have a country club that's gonna be an 18-hole golf course across the street. You do have to be a member to play at that golf course. It's one of, I would say, a handful of golf courses in the greater Sacramento area that you have to be a member to. But it's a super nice golf course. I got to play there one time on a gift. It was absolutely amazing. Course conditions were in perfect shape. But in Serrano, I will say kind of some of the positives that a lot of people have really liked. So some of these homes are going to be built in the early 2000s. You're going to have everything from 3 to 6 bedrooms, anything ranging from, I would say, 1,800 square feet up to 3,000 square feet. And I will say one of the things that's been a common theme for everybody that they've really liked about Serrano, or the houses that they find in this community, is that the backyards are not dinky. So, you know, it has a traditional tract style home feel, especially kind of the streets. And when you're driving up and down, you kind of see the B-roll. But when you get into these backyards, they're actually pretty spacious. So they can be anywhere from, I would say, a 8,000 square foot lot. We've seen some as high as a quarter of an acre. And they're, you have a lot of room. So if you want to put a pool in, you want to have a space where you can actually enjoy your backyard, you do actually get a pretty decent sized backyard up here. So I think that's one of the things that people really like about it. Proximity wise to the high school and the elementary school and the middle school, it's really nice. But that is going to bring me into our first pro. So our first pro is going to be the public education in El Dorado Hills. So I think a lot of times you guys reach out to us, and one of the most driving factors of where you guys choose to ask us questions about, whether it's Roseville, Elk Grove, Folsom, Granite Bay, Lincoln, Rockland, really kind of some of the suburbs outside of the greater Sacramento metro, a lot of your guys' driving factor is school districts, public school districts specifically. That's one of the really nice things about El Dorado Hills, is from the elementary all the way up to the high school, you're going to have excellent public rated school districts. So Oak Ridge is going to rate a 10 out of 10 based off of greatschools.org. They're going to have a lot of different features: college readiness, test scores, equity. But ultimately, the high school rates a 10 out of 10. Sometimes it rates a 9 out of 10, but it kind of flip-flops back and forth depending on the year and the testing. Their elementary schools are going to rate 8 out of 10 throughout the entire city of El Dorado Hills. And then their middle schools rate anywhere between an 8 to a 9 out of 10. So, really great public education in El Dorado Hills. Now, one of the things that I will say, so leading us into our third con for this video, is going to be the affordability of El Dorado Hills in general. So not necessarily just Serrano. I will say Serrano does have some affordable options when you're thinking about what you get with a gated community and with the type of home that you're finding. But all in all, El Dorado Hills tends to be on the upper scale of affordability. So when you're comparing it to places like the greater Sacramento metro, it's going to be on the above average kind of scale. So we've seen homes in El Dorado Hills that can range anywhere from, the high sixes, but a lot of them are going to be in the low sevens, and they can definitely go up into the $2, $3, $4 million range. So as a whole, El Dorado Hills is going to have a little bit less affordability. Now, a couple of the other things that we want to touch on as it relates to affordability is you are going to have PG&E as it relates to your utility provider up in El Dorado Hills, which is going to be similar to most of South Placer County, or Placer County in general, I guess, going all the way up to Lake Tahoe. And there is a possibility of you having the potential for fire insurance. So that's going to be one of those things that's going to be a case-by-case basis. You're definitely going to want to talk to your insurance provider when you're getting ready to find your home up here. But definitely one of those things that we want to just kind of clue you in on, because you are a little bit more in nature up here. So it's one of those things where there's a pro and a con that comes with that. You are, you've got some rolling hills, and you're starting to be kind of in the first entry part of the Sierra Nevada mountain range as you're going up towards South Lake Tahoe. But that is one of those things that affordability can factor in there. So I think the more close you are to town, the more close you are to some of those amenities, it's not as bad. But again, get a quote with your insurance provider. It's one of those things that we can definitely make sure. Obviously, if you're going to be looking at some of the more rural stuff, definitely want to make sure you factor that in there. But I think for the most part, you should be good. But as a whole, that con is going to be affordability. Now, Lauren is going to take you to our last community, which are going to be some brand new construction community homes that are going to be awesome, and they're going to be pretty close to Folsom.
All right, so the last neighborhood that we're going to share with you in El Dorado Hills today is going to be where I'm at right now. Now, I'm at Saratoga Estates, and in my opinion, out of everything, one of my favorite neighborhoods in all of El Dorado Hills. Now, what makes Saratoga Estates really, really cool is that it's a brand new development. So Saratoga Estates is being developed by Elliott Homes, and Elliott Homes just builds an amazing home. So many things are included. You really don't have to upgrade pretty much anything if you don't want to. Like, they have so many included features, from waterfall countertops to window coverings are included. And just really everything that they put into these homes are amazing. But on top of that, this is an awesome community. It's a gated community, which is super nice. Now, Elliott Homes is building 3 different collections here. So there's so many different models to choose from depending on what your style is. If you need a single story, they've got single stories. They've got 2 stories. They've got 2 stories where the master's on the downstairs. floor, and you've got your kiddos living space upstairs, so that's really, really nice. They also have an awesome park that's built into this community. Now, the park in this community is really, really cool. It's got a slide that's built into the hill. It's got a zip line, it's got slides, it's got covered picnic area. It's really nice. Every time we've come out here, there's been tons of kiddos at the park, and that's just the park that's behind the gate. They also have a park that's in front of the gate, which is awesome. They do a ton of community events there. It just recently opened. Now, I do want to tell you a little bit about these homes that Elliott Homes is building out here. So here you can find homes that range anywhere in size from a single story, 1,800 square foot, up to 2 stories that are going to be around 3,600 square feet, with so many different amenities and included features like I was mentioning earlier. Now, these homes also sit on larger lots than what we're seeing from a lot of other builders, so that's also something to keep in mind. I love the feel of this community. I love how nice it is. I love that it's new. Now, an Elliott Home Builders, in my opinion, is definitely one of the best builders in the area when it comes to quality and overall product that you get. Now, on to my last pro for El Dorado Hills. Now, my pro is going to be all of the outdoor activities that you can do in El Dorado Hills, as well as just the scenic beauty that this awesome town has to offer. So one of the big draws to El Dorado Hills is that you do have lake entrance to Folsom Lake on this side. Now, we've mentioned in the past, a lot of people think Folsom is great, but Folsom actually doesn't give you entrance into the lake. So the only entrance points into Folsom Lake are gonna be in El Dorado Hills and in Granite Bay. But the nice thing about the entrance in El Dorado Hills is that they do have boat slips out there, so you can dock your boat there. You also have a ton of trails on this side of the lake, so that's something that's really nice as well. So the outdoor recreational activities and just kind of being in the beauty of nature in El Dorado Hills with all of its massive trees is something that I definitely think sets this town apart from all of the other towns in the greater Sacramento metro. All right, now for our last con. Now, one of the biggest cons to me about El Dorado Hills is that it is not a walkable area. So you can walk within your own community, like if you're in Serrano or if you're in Saratoga Estates or the Promontory, you do have sidewalks, so that's really, really nice. But when it comes to, having to get to the stores or anything like that, you are gonna need a car. There's not a lot of public transportation out here. I wanna say I've seen a few buses. I know they do school buses if you're within a certain distance from the schools, but the overall city buses, you don't really have that. It's much more rural out here. It's not kind of that bigger city life. It's a lot quieter. So when it comes to transportation, you are gonna need a car to accomplish pretty much all of your daily activities, whether that means getting to and from the store, going to work, any errands that you need to do, you will need a car to make all of that happen. So I would say that's probably one of the biggest cons, is that there's not a lot of city transportation like buses and that kind of thing. So just kind of keep that in mind if you're thinking about making a move to El Dorado Hills. So those are the 4 most requested neighborhoods of El Dorado Hills whenever we're showing clients in this area, especially our YouTube clients. So we showed you Serrano, we showed you Promontory Point, we showed you Saratoga Estates, where you can find a brand new home from Elliott Homes. We also showed you Blackstone, which is a gorgeous community, some offering breathtaking views. Now, on top of that, we shared with you some pros and some cons, some things to think about, some things that might make you decide not to live in this area, and also some things that maybe don't really bother you that much. So that was everything that you need to know if you're considering a move to El Dorado Hills.
So if you're thinking about making the move to El Dorado Hills, the greater Sacramento metro, or any other place that we featured on this channel like Roseville, Granite Bay, Folsom, Elk Grove, Rancho Cordova, anywhere that there's been some new construction, that phone number is going to be up there. You can call us, you can text us, you can email us, you can send a carrier pigeon or smoke signal, whatever works best for you. But we absolutely love connecting with you guys. We love helping you strategize and figure out your game plan, so that way we can help you choose the best area that's going to be right for you and your family, and figure out all those ins and outs of moving to a brand new area that can be a little scary. So that phone number is going to be up there. We answer every phone call, email, and text message, and we absolutely love it when you guys reach out to us. So stick around, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, and we'll see you on the next one.